Close your eyes and forget everything you think you know about Earth. Now, imagine standing in Morocco not today, but 300,000 years ago. The wind is hot, the stars unfamiliar, and at a single waterhole, 7 different species of humans have gathered. All in the same moment. One has eyes like burning coals. Another barely reaches your waist. Towering shadows drift in from the east. You don't belong here, and yet you do. Because one of them is us. But here's the twist. We were the weakest. No claws, no fangs. No thick skulls or muscle-bound bodies. We had no right to survive. Yet every other species at that waterhole is now extinct. Except us. Why? That question takes us on a journey not just through time, but through extinction events, vanished giants, and survival strategies more shocking than fiction. This isn't a story about dominance. It's a story about desperation, adaptation, and a kind of genius born from failure. This is not your history textbook. This is the story of how Homo sapiens became the last human standing. If you're already hooked, trust me, it only gets wilder. Tap that like button so more curious minds can discover this. Subscribe if you're into stories that rewrite everything we thought we knew about our species. And hey, if this blows your mind, share it with someone who still thinks cavemen were just dumb brutes. Let's set the record straight, together. Close your eyes. Now open them, but not here. You're not in the 21st century anymore. You're in Jebel Irhoud, Morocco, 300,000 years ago. The night air is thick with the scent of mud, fur, and ancient heat. Crickets chirp in languages long extinct. And in front of you, something impossible is happening. Something that has never happened before and will never happen again. 7 species of human beings, all gathered around a single waterhole. Not in theory, not in myth, this is real. They're here together, and they're all thirsty. Not just for water, but for survival. You might not recognize them as human at first glance. One group, burly, pale-skinned. Eyes alert like wolves' moves, with the swagger of something that knows it's at the top of the food chain. These are the Neanderthals. Their muscles ripple beneath thick hides. Their eyes reflect firelight like predators, not prey. Their skulls are enormous, their faces hard, their walk confident. They've ruled the European continent for over 200,000 years. This water holds theirs, or so they think. From the east come the strangers, slender, tall, silent. They move like shadows made flesh, watching, calculating. The Denisovans, though no one here calls them that. Their name won't be known for another 299,700 years. But they carry the breath of the high Himalayas in their blood, secrets of survival, locked in genes that will one day let modern Tibetans live where others suffocate. Right now, they want one thing: water. The air grows tense. The Neanderthals stare across the flickering flame. These strangers aren't like them. They are taller, more wiry. Alien, but the Denisovans aren't the only anomaly. From the south trudges the old blood, Homo erectus. These are the veterans of Earth's evolutionary battlefield. 1.7 million years of survival echo in every step they take. Their faces are flat, their brows heavy, their eyes deep-set and ancient. Their tools are simple, their speech is uncertain. Yet no one dares mock them. Even the Neanderthals shift slightly when they approach. These are the elders, the survivors of ice, of fire, of extinction events that erased countless others. But there's more. A rustle in the underbrush reveals beings that shouldn't exist. Homo naledi, barely 4 feet tall. Brains no bigger than a chimp's, and yet they carry tools crafted with disturbing precision. Their hands are dexterous, their movements efficient. Evolutionary theory says they shouldn't be here, shouldn't have survived. Yet here they are, defying every rule written by modern science. To the north, out of darkness, trudges Homo heidelbergensis. The ancestors, broad, brutish, mysterious. Looking at them is like peering into a warped mirror, your great-grandfather's great-grandfather's shadow. They gave rise to both Neanderthals and us. Their gait is steady, their tools primitive but lethal. You feel something stir in your DNA just watching them. And then, the smallest ones arrive. From the island forests of what will one day be called Indonesia, Homo floresiensis steps lightly through the crowd. The hobbits, as future scientists will cruelly nickname them, barely 3.5 feet tall, but with eyes sharp and ancient. Their world was filled with miniature elephants and dragons, and they hunted both with tiny spears and terrifying accuracy. Don't let their size fool you. These beings survived where giants perished. And finally, trailing at the rear, trembling slightly, comes a group that looks strangely familiar. Homo sapiens, us. No bulging muscles, no towering height, no intimidating teeth or claws. Our ancestors arrive at the waterhole with wide eyes, fragile frames, and bubble-shaped skulls. Compared to the others, we're unimpressive, pitiful even. No one notices when we crouch to drink, no one feels threatened, and that is our greatest advantage. Because while the others see with eyes, we see with imagination. A Neanderthal watches the stars and sees pinpricks of light. A Denisovan sees the horizon and plans his next move. But a Homo sapiens stares at the sky and wonders what lies beyond it. We are the only ones drawing patterns in the dirt. The only ones whispering to one another, not just about food or water, but about what might come tomorrow. Ideas, beliefs, dreams. That's our secret weapon. We could convince others to die for ideas that don't exist. Gods, spirits, ancestors, futures. That invisible force culture will become the most powerful evolutionary tool in history. But none of that is visible tonight. Tonight, the waterhole is still. Only the soft sound of careful sipping breaks the silence. The 7 species glance at one another warily. No one knows this moment is special. No one realizes that this gathering will never happen again. Only one creature watches with full awareness. In the darkness beyond the firelight, golden eyes blink. Smilodon fatalis saber-toothed cat waits in silence, muscles coiled, teeth gleaming like ivory daggers. It doesn't care who these apes are. To it, they are all meat. But even it notices something strange. Only one species looks up at the stars. Only one draws in the mud. Only one seems distracted by thought. The cat doesn't understand what it's seeing, but we do. It's watching the future. By dawn, the species will scatter. The Neanderthals will return to their mountain fortresses. The Denisovans will vanish into the east. Homo erectus will continue walking, always walking, into legend. The hobbits will retreat into forests, too small for giants. And Homo naledi will return to their caves, their secrets buried in stone. In 50,000 years, 6 of these species will be gone. Only we will remain. And even we won't know what happened here. But the fossils will remember. The tools, the DNA. The stars, perhaps. For this moment, this impossible, flickering, silent communion was not just a meeting. It was a prophecy. A rainbow of humanity gathered around one pond, beneath alien stars, each carrying a different answer to the same question. How do we survive? For Homo sapiens, the answer was never about strength. It was about the mind, about imagination, about stories. We weren't the strongest. We weren't the smartest, but we were the most contagious. Our words spread faster than fire. Our myths crossed mountains. Our mistakes became inventions. And from this fragile beginning, from this silent sip of muddy water at Jebel Irhoud, began the greatest takeover the planet has ever seen. By the time we finish the job, mammoths will vanish. Sabers will fall. Cave lions will go silent. The sky will carry metal birds and the oceans will churn beneath plastic. But it all began here, at a waterhole, under forgotten stars. with the weakest ape ever born whispering to another, "What if?" In the dry, sun-baked hills of Morocco, where the wind whispers through jagged stone and the earth remembers things long forgotten, a discovery was made that would challenge everything we thought we knew about ourselves. Jebel Irhoud, once just another sleepy dig, erupted into global headlines in 2017 when archaeologists unearthed something astonishing: the fossilized remains of early Homo sapiens dating back nearly 300,000 years. That's older than any other known Homo sapiens fossil by over 100,000 years. It was like finding a birth certificate we didn't know existed, one that rewrote the origin story of our entire species. Before Jebel Irhoud, the oldest confirmed Homo sapiens came from East Africa. But this find, far to the northwest, told a different tale. It whispered that we did not simply spring to life in one tidy location, but instead emerged across the continent, in a mosaic of populations, each contributing threads to the human tapestry. The skulls found at Jebel Irhoud were striking. They bore features both familiar and strange: a modern-looking face with flat cheeks and small teeth, yet crowned with an elongated, archaic brain case. It was as if humanity was mid-metamorphosis, caught halfway between what we were and what we would become. These were not primitive brutes, as once imagined. They made tools, sharp, symmetrical stone points, crafted with precision. They cooked their food, likely shared it. They lived in groups, raised children, buried their dead. These weren't just bones. They were stories pressed into the dirt for 300 millennia, now rising like ghosts to remind us that our origins aren't linear, they're layered. We didn't arrive fully formed, but emerged gradually, in waves, from different regions across Africa. Jebel Irhoud is proof that modern humanity didn't have a birthplace. We had a birth continent. What's truly haunting about Jebel Irhoud isn't just its age, but its silence. No written records, no language preserved. Just stone tools and fragments of skulls. And yet, through those fragments, we hear echoes. Echoes of children laughing, of fires crackling at night, of hands shaping tools by lamplight made of stars. This site forces us to let go of the idea that early humans were crude or simple. In reality, they were innovators, survivors, people, and perhaps they looked up at the same moon, felt the same wind, dreamed the same dreams. They walked a world teeming with predators, climate swings, and unforgiving tyranny they endured. Every one of us carries a flicker of them in our DNA. Not metaphorically, literally. Their blood is in our veins. The ghosts of Jebel Irhoud never really vanished. They walked into the future through us. Jebel Irhoud challenges the old textbook version of human evolution, the tidy timeline that placed our origin in East Africa around 200,000 years ago. But now, archaeologists and geneticists must contend with a more complicated and beautiful truth: that Homo sapiens evolved not from a single cradle of humanity, but from scattered populations across Africa that were mixing, moving, and adapting over hundreds of thousands of years. It wasn't a tree with a single trunk, it was a braided river, branching, merging, diverging. Jebel Irhoud is just one of many channels in that ancient current. And as we unearth more fossils from places like Ethiopia, South Africa, and Kenya, the picture grows richer. Not only did we originate in Africa, but we were more diverse than we ever imagined. Different groups, different tools, different environments, but all distinctly human. We weren't born in a single moment. We unfolded. What makes this discovery even more profound is its timing. Around 300,000 years ago, Earth was going through immense environmental change. Shifting climates, megafauna migrations, droughts, and floods. It was a planet in flux. And the humans at Jebel Irhoud weren't just surviving this chaos, they were adapting to it. Their tools evolved, their diets shifted, their brains expanded, not just in size, but in complexity. This wasn't accidental. It was evolution in real time, sculpted by fire and famine, trial and error. These early humans didn't wait for the world to become comfortable. They learned to read the land, to track animals, to shape their world through effort and ingenuity. They were proto-engineers, early philosophers, and storytellers. If their stories weren't written down, and somehow, their survival sparked a chain reaction that would eventually give rise to language, art, civilization, and you.